life when you had to engage other people? If you're like a school prefect, a firstborn, or or if it's a challenge you, if you're a firstborn in the family, or yes, if you're a mother, you need to bring people together to build a portrait. So think through of a moment where you had to manage volunteers and you just voice to your neighbor what was the most difficult thing you had to engage, and then your neighbor will report to the group. You have 2 minutes. Just think through of a time you had to manage volunteers and what was the most difficult thing. And then your neighbor will report the incidents to us. We have 3 minutes.
One, two. One, two.
You sucked. Really the best one. Mimi, I was a prefect back in primary. And a environmental prefect.
Okay, 1 more minute.
What was the most frustrating thing?
People collecting leaves.
What do you mean?
Okay, 30 seconds. Okay, now we can report, and I'll ask Carol to take notes, please. Okay, we'll start with Ayo. You report on your neighbor's incident. Yeah. What they share?
Her is family related. She has siblings, and she took that responsibility before, talking to them, modeling them, like letting them know what the real life looks like out here. Yeah.
What's the most challenging part?
Most of them, she claims they are silent motive, as in they don't give you response immediately. So you're not
she mentioned in high school she was a prefect. There's a time they needed to collect some funds for one of their classmates who was not feeling well. So the challenge was collecting the funds because you see now they're students. So they had that issue of getting the money and also convincing them that let's help these classmates.
What did she report?
Okay, she reported about time. The people that she is working with are not willing to devote their time fully, especially when maybe they've decided for weekend, let's go and do something to the community, giving back. Most people will not fully devote their time to come. So there's the issue of time.
There was a trio here.
People normally don't do anything unless they have an interest.
From he said that he felt that the reward, being in a position in that position, he felt it was nice to feel some power, so to have that authority. So it's some sort of reward. Yeah.
Ken?
Yeah, he was a prefect. Like he said, the most rewarding thing was power. yeah, and the most difficult thing was also lack of interest. Like students, fellow students, asking them to do something, they don't do it, lack of interest.
So for us, she is a leader in a group which they are advocating on goal for, and she had to try and get the best people who actually have a passion for it, because it was about trying to come back, going to schools, giving back, and it was upon you to just come, speak with them, you're not paid. So the problem of trying to get the best with passion, with the zeal, commitment, and sacrifice, that was the most challenging part.
So my colleague Azimangi is working on goal 3 of health for all. So at times he has to mobilize young people who are interested in sexual reproductive health rights to come for a workshop on the same or to come for an engagement on the same. But when he's mobilizing them, the first thing they ask, are they going to give us per diem? Are they going to give us transport? In which hotel is this going to be?
Thanks for that. So thanks for your responses. I'd like to invite Karen. I think in terms of the veteran who's been doing this for a long time, I know Wangari has, so I'll let her share her experience of engaging volunteers. She'll also share of her rewarding moments and also the challenges. And then together as a group we can look like we can go through the step. Like most of you say the starting, like how do you go to getting that critical mass? Who's the first person you engage? And if it's a team, how do you even divide the role and responsibility? Before you go to that, Karen. Yeah, you can share your story.
Okay. Hi everyone.
Hi.
Kare is the short form of Kare. I'm from Kiambu, a village called Kaga. And for me, being an alumni is a journey that I began a few years ago. And it's been a great thing. My first time to engage with schools was when I was invited by my former teacher during a prize giving day.
and he wanted me to go and speak because they know, or rather they knew by then, how much I held education highly. Because education has changed my life. And when I went back there, being in Kiambu, there are things I didn't expect. For example, I didn't expect that I can have children who finish high school and we do not have school fees to go to high school. So for me it was such a shock, and these are beautiful babies, let's say girls, boys and girls. They had passed very well, but apparently they didn't have school fees to go to their next level. And it touched me so badly that by the time I left that place, I had promised that I would do anything it would take for me to solicit for funds and give them a chance to go to high school. And then when I did it, God did it successfully. It was a brother and a sister. From then, I got so engaged in schoolwork. I got so engaged in going back to my area and getting involved in alumni work. To my advantage, my home area, the church had begun an organization to bring all the stakeholders together. And so it was so easy for me because there was already an existing association. Not an alumni association, but people who had come together to try and salvage the education of the place. Because in 2007, one of our primary schools, or rather one of our schools, they were second last. And the only school they had defeated was Kamboi School for the blind, for the deaf. For the blind, one of the two. That's the only school they had defeated. And that's when these stakeholders decided this could not be true. And so they came in, formed a committee, and began now engaging the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders in this aspect? The teachers, the parents, the students themselves, and the people around, the community at large. Because remember, when Kebaki came in, education was made free for primary school. And there was a lot of apathy, with the teachers, with the community. They didn't care. Education is free. So whether they didn't even care about the quality, what was going on inside the school. So when the results were that bad, it was a wake-up call. So from then, when I came in, I was the youngest in that committee, and I had to bring about a revolution. In this aspect, I decided we must really engage. We must call back the alumni. And when I'm talking about schools, I'm not talking about one school. I'm talking about 5 schools. That is 3 primary schools, 2 high schools, and we've gotten now 2 more schools, which are private entities, but they decided to work with us. If I'm to talk about the challenges, the number 1 challenge is when you call people and try to sell your vision. Doesn't matter what kind. You text them, you tell them about what is going to happen, they don't come. You call like 20, only 3 show up. But believe you me, if you've begun the journey, this is what will happen. When it is a success story, okay? When it is a what? A success story. Those same people will come in. Because as Kenyans, I don't know if it's only Kenyans or everybody in the world, we love associating with success. So don't worry. Whether you go back to school, the 2 of you, just go back, have a moment or a day with the students, put on the page where you first invited them and they didn't come, and after a while, you will not believe. Our success story is that children now are performing so well, where we could not even get 1 child admitted to national schools. Right now we are having like 5, 6, 7 of them going to national schools. We are doing everything possible to make sure that we get school fees for them. That is engaging other entities that do that. And right now we have taken 5 children to different secondary schools who could not have managed to do that. The other thing is that after we began and then it became a success, the alumni, those ones who never wanted to be part of it in the first place, they've come back. And just this year, you remember Matian has inaugurated some board committees for the schools, where now it's no longer the old men in the village who go for those committees. Now it's the young people, very dynamic, professionals, are the ones who are in those boards. So ours is a success story. If you see our boards, you will be so surprised that maybe the only old man, even if there is any old man, he must have reached Form 4. So it's such a beautiful thing, having everybody involved. It's such a beautiful thing when we leave Nairobi, like on a Friday morning, and we all drive towards our village as we go to head those board meetings. And we are making changes from inside. We are no longer now outside like it was before. So guys, it is doable, it is worth it. You go there, you get very humbling experiences. Like for us, the toilets that we used to go into many years back are the same that our children are using. Some do not even have shoes, some do not have even, there's so many issues and challenges. The desks that our fathers were using in the 70s are the same desks in those primary schools. So guys, go back, see what is happening, become part of it, and you will see the success. When you touch that child, you make all the difference. When we go to high schools and speak to these, even future pastors has spotted us there, mentoring them, they've gained confidence, and we believe in the next few years we will be having people from those humbling day schools going to universities. It is doable and it is possible.
Thank you. Who feels congratulated? Okay, good. So I know it's a large group, but I don't want you to feel bored, especially. So I want you to, in small groups, seriously, if you've gone back to school, just say, if you started yours, mention how you started. If you already feel like you want to start, bounce your ideas on what's the first step you do to your neighbor. So if you started, just say, share with your friends in the groups of 4, what's the first step you took, and if you're starting for the first time after this meeting, what do you feel your first step would be? Would it be to form our circle? Would it be to look for your high school buddy and start with just him, and then, your power, someone who also can do that. So that's the group. I think I'll move you here. So that group of 4. So you share. Then one person will report, right? So what I want you to say, if you already started, how did you start? What's the first step you took? And if you'd not started, this is when you're starting, what's the first step you're going to take? Okay? So, and you have 5 minutes. Okay? And one person from the group will represent. Be at least 4 or 5 people.
What I did, I first went back to my village, checked exactly
speaking, because this is practical here, Starehe is over 47 years of age. Alliance is over 50 or so, yeah? And the question you're asking, if you came to me as Starehe, even when I'm solving my conflict, why would I want you from outside to come and sort my conflict? Yeah? And then, if you're coming to sort my conflict and you are still in nascent stages of development, will I listen to you? Yeah? So I'm throwing that in so that we think the national idea is a great idea, but perhaps even when we are starting, we have also to be very strategic in how we are starting. You may not be solving conflicts at first, but you could be sharing information. That even Starehe needs, yeah? So then you have to look at now what are the strategic things that we are doing so that even we capture the young man there who says, I'm just starting. And by the time you're calling me to do national stuff, I'm basically trying to think about doing my own stuff. So when you are creating, keep at the back of the mind the different levels. You for now, as inclusive as we may want to be, you will have to segregate for the purposes of developing the organ, which is the organization itself, yeah? So that then you say, as a national alumni association, for now, we are helping you to inspire you, motivate you to get to that point. Then later when they buy in values, the concept is the same as we are selling into the alumni in schools. When they have seen your value, then they say, okay, why don't you come and sort us out? Yeah? I just wanted to throw that in. And I mean, he was cultivating on a very good tangent that I kept saying, I hope they bring this one out. Yeah. To be real, not...
When you talk about alumni, we're not talking about a one-year engagement or a three-year engagement. And you mentioned something I really liked, that the living memory and the living history of the school is the alumni group. And so we need to be thinking of the Alumni Association in the long term. I think you're absolutely right. We have to decide in the short term what we can and can't do as the association. But in 10 or 15 years' time, there has to be a much longer period in our minds in order that we build something that's very, very strong and is ticking all the boxes that the people that you guys say it needs to be ticking. And we're running out of time, so I've got two last questions for you. The first is, would your alumni associations pay to be part of the National Alumni Association? And the second is, in 5 years' time, what should the Alumni Association be doing?
I think, to me, those are two broad questions.
They are very broad questions.
Paying, yes and no. Reasons have been shared.
Yes.
Because, number one, a key question people would be asking, what value does it have?
So let me flip the question.
Yeah.
What value would the Alumni Association have to deliver in 5 years' time for you to pay?
I would, and this is for all of us, I would say we have the challenge to actually say our story. We've not said our story. So we cannot expect people to come in and buy our idea, and we've not shared our idea in the first place.
Okay.
What we are doing is we have random ideas of what we think this is where we want to go. Why don't we come up with it can be 3 years, a strategic plan. In the next 3 years, this is what we want to do. In the next 5 years, this is what we want to do. A strategic plan can change. It can be 3 years. We want to create awareness. That is our key objective. We want people to know there is a national.
So is that your key objective? You want to raise awareness?
I'm
asking you.
Yes, to me, I would say, now thinking outside in, I would say that is a key objective. I didn't know there's a national, maybe most of you knew, but I didn't know there's a national alumni association. I'm hearing it today for the first time. Now there are 50,000 other people, more than 50, that I'm representing that don't know of that national association. I would be so excited going back and telling them we'll be having an annual alumni association in one of the schools, that I'm an alumni. And if I tell them this, they will be like, okay, that's a good idea.
Okay.
Do they have a strategic plan? Now, we cannot be talking about people who are just thinking about ideas. Can they put it down
But this is exactly what we're trying to do now. This is exactly the process we're going through to build that strategic plan. That's why I'm asking. This way we're cultivating opinions, because we're saying the plan has to be the voice of everybody involved.
Yes.
If me, Pauline, and Abby can sit in a room and write a strategic plan, but that's not the right way to do this. We have to get the voice of the people that are going to be impacted by this, and that's why we're doing what we're doing today.
Support you, and we are the plan currently. So when we are all answering to you, it's not Kevin, it's we are the plan. Yeah, so when you're responding, you have to think, okay, what's my contribution in this? Because there's no other. And even the 50 you are saying starts with the ones here.
What I would say, number one, let us have a strategic plan. Minimum 3 years. This is what we want to do for 3 years. Then, with that strategic plan, have a communication plan that will support that strategic plan. Now, how do we reach out to all the audience, target audiences that we want to reach in this? Now, we are talking about other alumni associations, we are talking about TSC, we are talking about Parent Teachers Association, all the stakeholders. But first, we have to be very clear about what value, of course, we'll be outlining that.
Chicken and egg. We have to decide which value before. We have to understand who is involved first.
Yes.
So, chicken and egg.
Yeah.
Florence, how about yourself? What do you think?
So I think about the contributions to the alumni as the national one. One, people who join alumni associations are of different categories. There are people who are transiting still through education, some are working, some are even on retirement. So based on that, you cannot say this is the fixed amount. We need to have brackets, of which since it's a voluntary activity, then it should not be like you have to pay to belong. It should come from, I think people pay when they see there's a cause and how it will have change. For example, if they would stand and say, like in Starehe, this has been the model working, this is what has grown out of it, I think other schools emulating it would not be bad because they have seen it in action. But you do not tell people to pay, yet you have nothing to show for where it will go. Then still on maybe like where we sit in the next 5 or 3 years, currently the alumni associations active, maybe they've gotten to an extent of just having a representative maybe in the board. So I think for me it would be a big step if by 3 or 5 years an alumni will be part of the ministry, like they'll be inculcated so that they are able to act as auditors because they know what is going on.
Guys, we've come to a finish. Does anybody that hasn't spoken yet want to add anything before we finish? Anybody that hasn't spoken want to add anything?
Listening to all of us, I think we all agree the alumni association, the national body will be very important. But as to where we are, I don't think we have the number. Really, I don't think we have the number that would get us there, because not many schools have these registered alumni association bodies. Yeah, so I would think that the very core thing would be getting the communication out there until they have registered bodies. That way they'll come join the National Alumni Association. That is when we'll start beginning about talking about the leverage, the, getting benefits from this alumni association. That is when, because again, you cannot run the national body without these contributions. Yes, people will pay, but they will pay after having established their own alumni associations. And then in the 5 years, then we can sit back and say, what have we done? Or rather, we can sit back and say, the Alumni Association, the National Alumni Association has given us these things. But right now, we cannot say, we cannot actually start looking at benefits right now. Let's get the foundation done, the numbers, because I don't think we do have them. Then maybe in the 5 years' time, people will pay, people will do all these other things that we aim to get us.
Thank you, very interesting. I think we've run out of time, I'm afraid. But we will continue the conversation with all of you. via email, via workshops, all sorts of things to help develop develop the association. And we also don't want to own it. We want to hand it over and it be run by the alumni associations that it's serving, rather than we want to kickstart it and catalyze and then step back. So thank you very much, and we'll need to move on to the next session. I'm afraid we've run over time, over 10 minutes, but we'll pick up. I'll be here till whatever time you guys decide to leave afterwards.
I take advantage of these opportunities. I do leadership and governance training. Please, when she spoke, they only met for lunch. And they have an association, yeah? Let numbers never stop you. Yeah. Never let numbers stop you.
When you were saying that, so many people would disagree with you. I'm going to bite my tongue. I know what you, but I think that it will happen. I'm heartened today in sitting in this group. This will happen, and it will be powerful, not in 5 years or 10 years, but in 5 months or 6 months. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much. Yeah, you follow up. Does everybody know what group they're moving to next? Everyone know? Okay. Okay. So there's still the same group. So there's National Alumni Association on this one, so it's time to move to the next one. Then we have volunteer management here. Then we have giving back and